Alrighty. Welcome everybody, and thank you for the opportunity of talking. Uh, the this month we're celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month, and I thought of something to bring value to the group, and it's making a presentation on some insights. The main one of the purpose of the group is for us to be able to connect, prospect, and grow our networks. And the Hispanic market has some characteristic that I find, since I'm part of it, that I find that can give us the opportunity to do that, to grow. Um, this month, since we're celebrating the National Hispanic Heritage Month, it commemorates and celebrates the Hispanic heritage for this country. It was established in 1968 by President Lyndon Johnson, but was expanded to a whole month for President Ronald Reagan in 1998. Um, so why is the Hispanic market important, or why are we celebrating this? The Hispanics are now the biggest on the largest group of ethnic group inside of the United States. That we're gonna be the biggest majority in the next 50 years. Um, Almost half a million of well, almost half of the U.S. population. It's will be multicultural by 2024, which is in roughly 3 years. The growth of the population is estimated to be over 75 million by 2025. Um, Even though there's been some slowdown, however, the biggest significant is that the Latino growth, it's 28% of it is people that are born in the United States, are second generation of uh, of Latinos. So why it will be important tapping this market? It's very aspirational. So one of the distinguished characteristics of this segment is that we think of progression and moving forward, and the whole idea of American dream, hard work, and most of there's this gap between the first generation and the second generation, where the first generation sometimes comes in with some difficulties to adapting. However, the second generation is already part of the melting pot, still carrying the cultural traits from their parents. However, being more American, more Americanized, I could say. This gives the opportunity that they are more open into expanding and opening business, and getting in getting into um, getting into businesses and services that are that open and widen their not only their personal growth, but also their financial and economic growth. Um, One thing that is a myth is like most Hispanics don't speak English, and that's why it's a market that's usually not tapped very often. We come from different countries, different cultures. However, language is what unifies us. However, over 72% of Hispanics in the United States speak some English, more than 60%. Rather handle business in English than in Spanish when they're in the United States. People in marketing, the have the opportunity to reach out and connect through sales strategies in bilingual sales strategies, and also, for instance, marketing design and website design. Could have that the advantage of you don't have to have a dual site, but you can have just a microsite, targeting targeting the fact that we, as a community, we speak the language. Um, Over in that end, almost 20% is English dominant. So, but however, that 50% in between um, can be targeted through these microsites, or it's a specific marketing campaigns on social media just with the in Spanish. Why it's important? The buying power of Latinos in the United States is growing and keep growing. So it's giving you the opportunity and our clients to be able to reach out to pockets that nobody's reaching out to. Those are wallets that are there, and usually when people are not reaching out, they usually consume very locally because we don't have we build relationships. So when it comes to health or products and services that can help that can help us personally, we usually tend to find someone that we can trust and we can talk to, and but most of the time the community doesn't know that those services are out there. Um, so one other optics is the business to business. Um, we have become very critical and important piece of the United States, the economy of the United States and the country. We're getting better educated, we're getting better employment, and we have a higher tendency of opening businesses and being self-employed than I can say any other immigrant groups. And our contribution to the economy is roughly it's on the billions of dollars. So by in 2017, the total sales receipts by Hispanics was $7 billion. Um, so with that being said, with the opportunity of tapping into the Hispanic market and promoting and having and developing strategies to reach out to the Hispanic market, widening it's a new way of marketing instead of just fighting and trying to catch the same customer, creating funnels that that attracts the Hispanic market and those Hispanic pocketbooks. It's a good strategy for your clients. I don't know if there's any questions. Open the floor for them.
I've got a question, Candido. So with these numbers, when you talk about America, does this include Puerto Rico, or is this within the continental, or the 50 states?
Within the 50 states only.
Okay.
The continental United States.
Candido, can you stop sharing screen for a second? Just so when people ask the questions, you'll appear and they'll appear. Question for you. Yeah, no, I mean, I knew the numbers were strong. I mean, these are incredible numbers. As far as questioning, and again, this is just opinion question, not that you know the answer to, but how does that work when you're obviously not Hispanic, marketing towards the Hispanic community, just like any other community? Would it be detrimental? I mean, to kind of have some marketing that is like maybe some Spanglish and some other things that, are distinctly targeted towards a Spanish community when the company really isn't owned or operated or run by Spanish people? Spanish-speaking people.
Yeah, language is important, but there's the myth that Hispanics only buy. We only go to English Hispanic-speaking businesses. That's the bond that unites us because we come from different countries. So language only unite a Mexican with a Dominican or a Puerto Rican. However, it's mostly the relationship on what you show and the way that you can the message translates. So if you try to build a relationship, doesn't really matter the language. It's that's what is important. That's what is relevant. Having Spanish materials, it is important. It's a way for those clients or prospect to understand your services, but we see the value in the relationship that either company or service is going to provide us. And especially as it's family focus.
Sure. And when you were mentioning, and again, to try to again relate to the culture, because my brother speaks fluent Spanish. He used to live throughout Central America, so I have understanding of the culture and what a wonderful culture it is. And using Spanglish or some of those, Spanglish is kind of when you throw Spanish words and English words together and kind of put it into term. Just to, if you start having some of your material feel more comfortable in that way, specifically reaching to that market, how was that viewed upon? I mean, would they prefer it to be clearly English, clearly Spanish, or is kind of mixing it up to show the flavor? What are your personal thoughts on that?
No, it has to be either or. There has been a misstep in which some companies roughly translate an English campaign into Spanish, and everything is lost in translation. There's no connection. So, but yeah, if you're marketing to the Hispanic market with the idea of communicating in Spanish, it's like leave the English out, like
right,
100% Spanish.
Right. Well, no, and my thought would be the opposite, where, as you mentioned, a lot of people more and more want to do business in English, even though they have the Spanish culture. So how do you kind of flag that with a marketing campaign that's strictly in English? You know what I'm saying? Because the bonding piece to that is the language of so how do you do that? And I don't know that you know the answer. I'm just throwing it out to the group.
No, and for instance, I conduct most of my business in English. However, and that's what I thought I was answering. If by mixing it up, it's not. It doesn't. You lose. You lose them both. So it doesn't look. It looks like you're just probably like trying to patronize.
Right. That's what you don't want to do.
Catering.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what you don't want to do. So how do you kind of come back, and how would you recommend, again, individuals that are not of Hispanic descent really showing an understanding and a desire to work with that community? And again, your opinion, we don't know.
Oh yeah, no, but it's about community participation. So if they see your brand or your name in local, we tend to buy more local than any other group. So we do go to the local bodega. We do go to the small papa mom shops. We go to the small supermarket. We don't we Target or Walmart is not our first choice. We do go and buy in main street. So by presenting yourself and being part of the community, and so that they can see your either brand or product on a local level, that's what is attractive.
And would you say that I would think, again, just thinking off the top of my head, where I would be most likely to interact with or to reach, our church has its own Hispanic masses, and that piece. I mean, would that be would that be something you would recommend targeting?
Yeah, exactly. Especially one of the things that Hispanics value the most is family, and if either your product or your service is concentrated towards offering either a better life or improvements and focus on legacy, we tend to that's what we tend to follow. As a message that we tend to follow, tapping into the local library. Sometimes they have they have these gatherings where, for example, I'm in Union County, and several libraries they do have like a Spanish mixer, where if you are studying Spanish, you have the opportunity to find natural Spanish speakers like me, but we Hispanic, we follow that. We like to mingle, we like to hang out. So, but yeah, that church and community groups are a good way to get in touch.
Perfect. Any other questions, anyone? Or
Yes.
Very helpful. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So we're actually in the middle of 2 different website builds that are bilingual. Both of them are going English, Spanish, and one of them is actually also going to Portuguese. And one of the things that people said is that they like the fact that we are doing they called it the translation correctly, where there literally is a side by side on the screen. Here's the English. What do you want the Spanish to be? And somebody actually has to type it in. They went to another company who said, oh yeah, we can simply put the Google Translate on there for you, and it will, whatever you have, it automatically translates it. And to your point, you mentioned, you know, something gets lost in translation, right? I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of emails from non-English companies that just spam me and send me an English email that says, hi, we build you very good website for your business. And you go, what? That's clearly, you know, we speak the English language very good. And it's like, oh, well, that's, you know. So while people may think that putting that quick translation in is beneficial, it's helping them, it's reassuring to hear from you saying, you know what, when you kind of do a halfway job with it, it's actually a disservice.
It's detrimental because if if you're reading the same way, because we don't understand, then we know that we know the message you're trying to convey. However, it just looks like a cookie cutter website.
Yeah.
So but yeah, even though Google Translate is getting better, we like from Mexico to Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, we have different way to express same ideas, and it's the same language. And if you roughly translate into English to Spanish, we might not even understand what we wouldn't understand it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So when you read, so let's say there is a website that is a true translation and it's a different dialect than what you are familiar or accustomed with. How does that impact you specifically when you see that? Do you just think, oh, it's a different dialect of Spanish and it's not my number one, or what?
It doesn't. I can tell you if who wrote that website might have been either from Argentina or from Mexico, because we use the, even though same language, we use it differently. However, it doesn't bring that much. It doesn't change that much. There is sort of like a standard Latin American Spanish that goes across the border. And unless you're using like very specific, you're calling something as a very specific way where they call it in the dialect.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we might get a little bit like, not won't say might be like a little bit like confusing, but no, if a Mexican person writes it, and I can see clear that I can clearly see that it's Mexican. It doesn't change my perception of the website.
Candido, would you say it's more like, because this is how my brother explains it, it's more like Spanish from Spain is kind of like English from England versus or Australia, and then versus English in America, and then English in Australia is slightly different than English in, but it's all considered English, but the terminologies and all, you can tell.
Yeah. The way we form these, well, the big difference is like in Spanish, you have different ways to form the sentences. Asking the same questions, you can form it differently. And usually people from certain places, like with Dominicans, we say how are you? We use que lo que. In the meantime, in Mexico, it is mostly like buenos dias. It's the same meaning, but yeah, the you can clearly see who's when somebody's talking, you can identify it right away, like where is that person from.
Excellent.
One thing with the websites, I don't know if I don't have a little time. For instance, during COVID, there were a lot of like Hispanic cleaning services that they were looking for that service to get their service out there, and they had the issue that they had a microsite in Spanish, but they didn't have one in English. And SEO in Google really punish Spanish. And if your website is not in English, SEO works great in English, but it doesn't work that great in Spanish. So I had someone that had to figure out a way to make Google SEO works in their favor in Spanish, and he's they've been they're doing a very great job in that. So those are the opportunities in marketing and website buildings that are out there that no one is taking care of.
Mm.
Excellent. Great job, Candido. So Candido, you will be promoting Lisa's information. We have all that ready from last time, so I'll get it off, and then you can put it out onto your Facebook and spread the word. As far as an educational piece for next week, does anyone have any suggestions of something that they want to talk about or discuss education-wise? Or
I'll kind of piggyback on what you talked about today through the library, Dennis. I don't know if people have seen it, lynda.com, a training site that's available through the library as well. So I can, if there's nothing else, I'll just kind of give a quick demo of that.
Now, has that become officially LinkedIn Learning or no?
It had, yeah, LinkedIn Learning.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay.
LinkedIn purchased them. Bulldog, Utrix, right?
No, I know. Microsoft owns the world. All the tech giants own and everything. So great. Very good. So thanks everyone for attending. You have any other questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Again, let's all try to spread the word, send the link to at least 1 or 2 new people. I'm also going to put another new direct meet.relaxteams.com to take us right to this particular meeting. Since it's only our one group and we're not trying to add any new groups right now, we'll just have that. So it just says meet, and that'll take it right to this meeting so that everyone can find it and share it real easy. So again, I'll keep lists, and every week the students and everything and us would come up with different ways to try to make it better. So if you have any comments, any suggestions how we can make this better and easier, let us know.
Okay, great.
Thanks all. Have a great day.
Be well, everybody.
Thanks, Candido.
Bye.
Thanks. Good job.